I wanted to be the one in charge of the way the music sounded. I wanted to be the one in charge with the tempo of the music and the style of the music, the fashion of the music, and just the overall structure of the music. And that's why, you know, my dad used to laugh, because I could say, oh, man, that's a viola right there, Dad. Oh, man, that's a bassoon right there. Oh, man, that's a cello. Oh, that's a trombone. And being able to understand what instruments played their part, how each play. Like part one was usually for the most experienced player. Like you parts, like you got a part one clarinet, you got a part two clarinet, you got a part three clarinet. So that's for your first chair, your second chair, your third chair. So just understanding the difference between what the third chair played and the second chair. Understanding the difference between what the second chair played and the first chair. The first chair was always the best player and had most of the lead parts. But the part two and the part three would be more like your background singing, but a instrument instead of a voice.
Okay.
So that's a more way of looking at it. Like, okay, Beyonce might be the first chair singer. She's the lead singer.
Right. Okay.
But her background vocalists have very good talent. They all can sing, but they're more on the background of the shoo-wop, doo-wop. They're doing the ad-libs and doing all of the fill-ins and the behind the background. So you just got to know how to play your part and understand where to fit those in, because there's somebody who's writing those parts.
Right.
So it's like a puppet, so to speak, as far as the conductor and the composer who has this big mind to create this whole orchestra. He writes the parts for the trumpets, the strings, the vocals, the band, the drum, the bass. He writes all of this down, which is what I'm doing, producing / composing, and then I overall hire or orchestra to come in and replay my music.
Okay.
So that's how a lot of that goes as far as movie scores or whatnot. So you wonder, like, dang, Drumma Boy couldn't play all of those instruments. How did he compose it? How did he produce it? The orchestra produced it. But they don't see me sitting and spending months and months of time or years writing the actual music. So it's almost like if I wrote a book, but then I hired Chris Tucker to read my book to the world. So to the world, it looked like Chris Tucker wrote the book, but I wrote it. I just hired him to speak it to you.
I got you. Yeah, that's a great analogy. That makes a lot of sense. I understand exactly what you're talking about and where you're coming from.
Yeah. So, you know, you can. It's almost like Reader's Digest. If you read enough books, trust me, you're going to get inspired to want to write your own book. And that's where I came from. I played enough music. I played so much orchestra, and I wanted to write my own orchestra.
Right. Okay. So what inspires you to write? Where do you get, because your music is hot. I can't, it's dope. I can't, say that enough. What inspires you to come up with some of the beats, and just how do you do it?
I mean, it's just a motivation, man. It's just seeing my dad, knowing where I come from. Knowing your history can motivate you to go so much further. And that's the problem with so many kids. They don't know where they come from. They don't know their history. They don't know their heritage. They might not know who their grandfather was, or even if they might not even know who their father was. So this takes away a lot of your drive. This takes away a lot of your direction. Because if you're inspired by what your forefathers have done before you, it increases your legacy, and increases your insight as to where to go to further your legacy. And I feel like I have a legacy that's been left behind that I have to fulfill. So, I mean, that within itself is my motivation. I know my role. I know my purpose on earth. And I dedicate 99.9% of my time to music. Right. That's the only way I'm going to be able to fulfill what I'm supposed to fulfill. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that sacrifice from that. From, whether it's been women in my life, or whether it's been certain family moments, or whatever the case may be. But it's like something has to. Something got to give.
I hear you.
For real.
What other producers do you listen to or look up to? Who in the industry and in the game, inspires you and makes you say, okay, that was a dope beat, or that was hot, or makes you want to step, or let me try this, or let me try that. Drumma Boy?
Yeah. Water. Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm glad you called right back. I thought we were going to lose you there.
Nah. So y'all good?
Yeah, you got to go because I had a couple more questions I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
Okay, so what, I know that you're very busy and you're promoting your work, your latest mixtape, so we do here for UMF. We do appreciate you taking the time out to talk to us. So what producers, that you listen to and look up to and it inspires you to make you say, you want to step that beat up or, you want to try something a little different?
You said what producers motivate me?
Yeah.
That's where we left off at. I think I said Quincy Jones and Dr. Dre.
Okay.
That's yours. I'm finna call him. He should be pulling up. Okay, I'm alright. Yeah, somebody was telling me to move my car. I'm sorry.
No problem. What are some of your favorite artists that you work with now?
Some of the favorite artists I work with, I have to say, Waka Flocka. I have to say Gucci Man. And just dudes who fun to work with, man. Gucci, Waka, them dudes have fun when they in the studio, so it's always like fun being in the studio with it, and that's why we make so many hits, because we have a lot of fun in the studio, and there's no set. There's no instructions. There's no, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, I need you to do this. It's just do what you do. Whoever good at what you do, just do it. So it's always a blessing to work with guys like that. It's just, just fun to be around. Drake, good friend of mine, cool with his family, cool with his father, you know what I'm saying? And just a fun dude to work with, you know what I'm saying? Dude had fun. When we did Money to Blow, in like 10 minutes. Because we was in there having fun, joking around and, you know what I'm saying, laughing and doing what we do best.
Okay. I read your post on your Huffington Post blog. How did that come about? That was a really big piece, and I thought that you hit a lot of key topics on it.
Yeah, you said a lot of key topics.
Yeah.
The phone went in and out, so I ain't heard the first part of what you said.
Oh, I was talking about your the blog that you wrote for Huffington Post.
Oh yeah.
How did that come about? I thought that was a great piece.
The Huffington Post came about with I think one of my publicists, Sasha, she set that up, and they were basically intrigued on hearing about me composing for my father, and I just conducted the Memphis Symphony Orchestra in a photo shoot that I did with Jonathan Mannion, photographer out of New York. And a lot of people just found it to be interesting, and they saw a few photos of me conducting the orchestra. So it turned out dope, like definitely to be able to, conduct my father and be around people who saw me practically from birth through current age. There's people who've been in the orchestra for 30 plus years, and I'm only 28. So they saw my father before me, and now they're seeing my father, with me, you know what I'm saying, and with my accomplishments, and to be able to come back in front of those people and conduct them, it's just a priceless feeling, you know what I'm saying, and I just know what I can do with the merge of hip-hop and the orchestral sound, and I've been doing it. I did it and put on, got nominated for a Grammy. Did it with Lose My Mind, got nominated for a Grammy. Did it with No Hands, and we was on the Billboard charts for longer than a year. No Hands was on the chart for a year and a half.
Wow.
Top 30.